just sneaking into a training session here today. And I'm just going to kind of narrate while John's working and tell you a little bit about the first phases of training and our process, how we get where we're gonna go, so that hopefully you'll be able to pick up where we left off when it's time to go home. We still have some time before go home, so that's good, and we'll get you another video like this before he goes home, but I just wanted to update you. So let me fill you in on a few things. Number one, what you're seeing John do right now, well, right now, the bend in the knee is called owning your space. We call it pop the bubble. So you have a personal bubble around your body, right? And if your dog enters that personal bubble without being invited, you just bend your knee, just pop the bubble and let the puppy know where your space is and where his space is. Why is this necessary? Because we love our dogs and we want them to be with us. They can be on our laps. They can come and make contact with our body, but they can't do it without being invited. The problem with them entering our space without being invited is that then becomes the next thing. And the next thing is nipping, jumping, and we don't want that. So the way to avoid that is to teach personal space from the very beginning. And to teach proper communication. Proper communication is this little sit to say please that he's doing right now, that John's been working on with him. This sitting and giving eye contact is how I want you to communicate with me. Not jumping, not pawing, not barking at me, but sitting and giving me beautiful eye contact. That's what I want, is that little sit to say please. And when he gets it, it's a yes. So we mark that with the word yes and a treat. We don't have a treat in our hand, we mark it with an ear rub.
Yes.
So a few things you need to know about our training philosophies. Number one is it's all about positive reinforcement. All about positive reinforcement and shaping behaviors, building good habits before bad habits start. So much easier to form a good habit than to try to break a bad habit. We ignore everything we don't want to see again. We praise, mark, reward. All of the good things we want to see again. The other thing you'll learn about our program is it's all about the just right challenge. I'm constantly talking about just right challenges. So every behavior is shaped. We want to teach something new, so it has to be a challenge, what we're working on, but it has to be the just right challenge. The just right challenge is something that the puppy knows that they can try and they can win. They can be successful. I like to compare our puppy training philosophy with Just Right Challenge with casinos. Stay with me. When a human walks into a casino, if they sit down at the table and they lose hand after hand, what do? They get up and they walk away. They check out. You can't stay at the losing table. But when they sit down at a winning table, they are fully engaged. Excitement is up. They're ready to play hand after hand after hand. And that's where we want our puppies to be. We want them to be fully engaged and ready to repeat what we're working on. The more repetition we get, the closer we get to mastery, the faster we get to mastery. Okay, so we have to make sure our puppies always feel like they're winning. What does winning look like? It means I got that treat. I got that reward, I got that attention, I got that praise. If we're working on something and they look like they're tuning out or getting frustrated, what we have to do is downgrade the challenge. Downgrade the challenge means make it just a little bit easier, whether that means prompting and helping them accomplish the task, pulling out a treat and luring them through the task, or just making it a little easier in some way. There's a million different ways you can adapt a challenge to make it just a little bit easier. Let them win, and then immediately increase that challenge again to the next just right level of challenge. So moment by moment, John is measuring what is the just right level of challenge for that puppy. And it changes moment by moment. So he's upgrading and downgrading. Look at how good this puppy is. Oh my gosh. He is so great. Look at all those sits to say please. I'm impressed, Nacho. I am very impressed. Such a good boy. I'm gonna stop and start. My video's getting a little long. What you're seeing John work on here quite a bit is the lure, L-U-R-E. Lure is just a treat. We're using a treat to lure the puppy to engage in the behaviors that we want to see again. And he's doing this with teeny, teeny, tiny little pieces of treats, which is what he's digging for and prepping for at the moment. The tinier the piece of treat, the more repetitions we get. So this is a lure. For example, just luring him to walk in a straight line in a heel position. The downgraded task would be to stop and do something like, can you show us a circle back and forth? If this was too challenging, John would downgrade it here. He would just have him go in a circle like that, because it's a real simple lure. Circle left, circle right. And then it'll go right back to, okay, what's the next right challenge? It's moving forward and staying in heel position. So we upgrade, downgrade as we go along, making sure the puppy's always feeling super successful, super engaged and willing to participate. The second thing you'll see here is that our leash training process is multiple phases. And phase one is actually off leash, and you just saw it. So we don't start by putting a leash on. We start by teaching the puppy to heel off leash. Look at all that engagement, so great. John always offers a treat when he puts the leash on. That's sort of his solemn promise. Every time we put a leash on your neck, I'm gonna give you a treat. And what that does is keeps the puppy really excited when that leash comes out. It's going to gift you that dog that's going to come run and sit perfectly and wait to get that leash on rather than wiggle, wiggle, or play chase when that leash comes out. So he's super consistent about using that every single time he puts a leash on, he delivers a treat. So on to the next phase of this leash training process. We start with off leash healing first, which you just saw a little bit ago. And the reason we do that is because one of the biggest mistakes people make is throwing that leash on from the start. And what the puppies do is a number of things. They either scratch it, try to get it off. They throw themselves on the floor and refuse to move forward. Or they feel trapped and they just go completely bananas, pulling in every different direction. All that contact on the neck between that leash and the puppy's neck is going to make the puppy want to pull. When we pull at the puppy will pull back. That's just basic instinct. We don't want to trigger those instincts. We don't want to trigger a pulling instinct. We want the instinct to be, okay, I just heel here off leash by my owner's side, even though they have a leash on. So truly what we're going for is for this puppy to be able to heel next to you and feel as if he does not even have a leash on. Now you'll notice John took that leash back off very quickly. Why did he do that? Because we were getting 100% success. He was keeping nice slack in the leash. He was heeling beautifully, and that will not last long because puppies have short attention spans and they are very impulsive. So those little sessions are short, and very, very frequent. The more we do that, the closer we get to mastery, the closer that just becomes a great, great habit to build upon. But if we push it too far, we do it for too long, what we get is a puppy who checks out, gets frustrated, gets distracted with other things in the room, and then we're just fighting that urge to tug. What you're seeing John do now is working on that lure. So he's mixing it up, working on a little different skill here to keep things spicy. We always say we gotta keep things spicy and interesting for these puppies. Why do we work on this lure through the rollover? Not just because it's cute, but because we're working on firming up that lure ability, that luring skill. The lure allows us to shape behaviors. It allows us to teach, this is how you roll over, this is how you sit, this is how you down, this is how you heel. The lure is critical. This dog, how awesome. How awesome is he? Are you kidding me, Nacho? Are you kidding me, Nacho? You're so cute. You're so good. My gosh. So back to the luring off leash. Practice, practice, practice. The more we lure off leash in that beautiful heel, the more it just becomes a habit. Truly, when we finish the leash training, we should have a dog who just wants to heel, has no idea that the leash is even on him. It's just a habit, and the dog is just responding to our body language. So later in the leash training, we'll do all kinds of turns and things like that and just teach him that that's the habit. When you see my body turn, your body turns. I'm not going to steer him with the leash. The leash is not a steering wheel. The dog should be responding to our body language and understanding his space, our space, where his space is in relationship to our space, where he should be when we are walking, which is right next to our side. And I will say, this little guy is well on his way. He's doing beautiful with this stage. There are different stages of leash training. This gets harder. Again, just right challenge will change. It will upgrade. But we have to go slow. We have to be careful to preserve that ability to just heel off leash so that we don't form a habit of pulling against that leash. So we go slow, lots of this practice, and then we put the leash on. When the leash is on, the priority is slack in the leash, slack in the leash. Keeping that slack there so that there's no pulling, there's no contact at the neck, and he has no desire or need to pull back. So that's where we're at this week with this little guy. And wow, is he impressive. Top notch, mister. Top notch.